All right.
Let me start the audio.
In that case, I'm going to put this on.
Hey, everyone. It's time for Geocache Talk. Whether you're at work, in the car, or wherever you are, we hope you enjoy the show. Please give it a like and subscribe on iTunes, Stitcher, or Google Play so that you get all the weekly Geocache Talk goodness. Whether you're at work. You got me on mute.
I'm muted.
You need to mute me.
Got it.
Got it? Okay. We'll start over. Hey, everyone. It's time for Geocache Talk. Whether you're at work, in the car, or wherever you are, we hope you enjoy the show. Please give it a like and subscribe on iTunes, Stitcher, or Google Play so that you can get all the weekly Geocache Talk goodness. Big thanks to the Travel Bugs for the music and my patrons Doug Jones, Joshua and Caleb Slinkard, Tom Brotherman, Jeff Arbaugh, Deborah Burris, Joshua Johnson, Nick Hubbard, Andrew Tiepkin, and Cecilia Perez. If you'd like to become a patron, head on over to patreon.com/geocache talk for more details. Patrons get path tags, coins, and other geocaching swag during the year, as well as invites to special events only for patrons. Support levels start at as little as $3 a month. Quick thanks to everyone for their patience with the podcast. There was an outage this weekend. It affected several podcasts, actually. Geo Gearheads was one that was affected as well. And I actually reached out to Daryl for help, and we kind of talked through it a little bit. But I got it working. It took me 24 hours, minus a couple hours to sleep. But we're back now, better than ever, and we have a new service handling everything, and I'm pretty excited about that. So the other one was free, and I guess you get what you pay for, right, Chris? Tonight we have some news. We've got, I probably won't get to the mega event update, but it is in the show notes. And probably won't even get to the weekly product tip. I'll mention stuff because we got a packed show tonight. So let's jump right into show number 19 for Sunday, October 16th, as I welcome my friend Chris Williamson to the show. Welcome to Geocache Talk.
Hi, Gary.
Hey, Chris. Glad you could make it tonight.
Thank you. Glad to be here.
Oh, that's wonderful. Yeah, I'm glad this worked out. We've talked a couple times, and we've gone back and forth a little bit about the movie we're going to talk about tonight. It's exciting, but first I want to mention a couple of my sponsors. First one, Geocaching News, is sponsored by FTF Magazine, and for you guys that get FTF Magazine, this is the latest version of it. You can see that. So it can be found at ftfgeocacher.com. And our news for the night. Oh, and by the way, Chris, this is a good spot. This is a good magazine. We can put we can talk about the movie in this. I'll get you in touch with Keith, and I'm sure he'd love to put a little something in this. There's my. I get it just right. There's Geocache Talk in the magazine.
Oh,
Yay. Cool! Yay! They got ads and all sorts of cool stuff. But we'll talk later about. We got to get the word out. We'll get it through. This is a really cool magazine. I really love FTF Magazine. A lot of cool stories and things in there. So good stuff. Anyway, so my news tonight is about the movie. And so the movie is in 2 festivals right now. So which 2 are they currently in, Chris?
Well, right now it's been accepted to one in Bucharest and Los Angeles.
Oh, very cool. Yeah,
yes.
Cinefest. And you're working on more of them as the process goes. We'll talk a little bit about how you even get a movie released in a minute. But currently you got 2 so far. You're going to work on some other ones.
Yes. Yeah, we're working on it. We have probably sent this off to 24 film festivals. Wow. And we're waiting to hear back from them to see whether they've been accepted or not. So, okay. And a lot of them we won't even hear back until early next spring.
Okay.
Even late spring, so. Sure. But the earlier that you submit films, the cheaper it is. So we have submitted to a lot of films that don't even occur for a while.
Well, it was smart on your part.
Yes, you can send. Yeah, when you send them in early, you can send them to more.
There you go. Perfect. Well, before we get into the movie, I want to give a shout out to my friend Patrick Walsh, Geopat92. He's on the road somewhere, Pat. So hang in there. Keep the travels going. And but you and I both know Patrick. So how do you know Patrick?
Well, he went to the same school I do, University of Central Florida. I was a master's student, and he was doing his undergrad. And he actually helped with the movie a little bit. He was my geocaching consultant.
Oh, sweet.
Yes, so he helped me learn more about more of the details in geocaching that I wasn't aware of. And
right.
Also, he was the first vid blog that I was on when we were raising money for the movie. So that was fun.
Cool. Well, that was smart of you to get, sometimes people will do either books or different things, and they don't really get geocaching right. Now, you have geocached, and we're going to talk about that in a second. But let's go back. We're gonna go way back in Chris's life. Back to the beginning. No, not quite the ultimate beginning, but
I was born in Kansas City, Kansas.
Yes, and you went to school in Kansas.
Yeah.
Right.
Well, I started I was born in Kansas, started out life there, and then when I was 15, I moved to Seattle, which, as you know, is an epicenter of geocaching.
Yep.
So I was there from 1995 to 2003.
Right.
And then in 2003, I moved back to Kansas City and started doing my undergrad and stuff. And I was working at Radio Shack. And that was the first time I heard about geocaching.
Yes. Now, before that, I want to go back a little bit for a second, though. When you were young, you did something, and I've got, just to let you guys know, Chris sent me some information, and he shouldn't have done it because now I've got lots of good info. But you did something, and I'm fascinated to hear a little bit more about this. You were inserting editing on linear VCR tape controller.
Yeah, I immediately, for some reason, was just drawn to and interested to media in general, media production. There's something about images with me that I don't know, that I can't explain. There's just a love of images, be it photos or whatever. So I took every class in high school I could. And back in the 90s, high schools were just switching over from analog to digital. So I went to a few different high schools from moving around, and one high school was editing on videotapes, those big monster bricks of those VCR tapes. And what you would do is they had two VCRs, and back then the way you edited was you would go shoot your shots. They would be on that tape one after another. And then what you'd have to do is there was this machine where you could say, okay, this is your in point at this time cone, that's your out point, and then it would copy that little clip over to your master tape, what was called your master tape. So you had to take, no matter what order you shot in, you had to find the shot you wanted in order and put them one after another, and it would copy it on there. And of course, it would also degrade the image and lose image quality each time you copied it. So you wanted to do that as little as possible. So and that's linear editing. And if you screwed up, you had to go back at the point you screwed up and then do all the shots afterward again.
Oh my gosh. Now, is that where you could input, could you put in like text at that point, or is that when you did the text? Okay.
Yeah, I might share with you my film that I did in high school. It was it's pretty funny, but but yes, we had machines called a toaster. It was called a toaster. you could put up graphics. It was really simple, and there was only 3 options on how the text could look. Now there are infinite options, but
oh my gosh,
yeah, from humble beginnings, right?
Yes, exactly, from very humble beginnings. Well, you're you have freelanced on some television shows, some films, some corporate videos. You've produced more than just this film. Before we get into Treasure, what are some other things you've done prior, and then if you want to mention some things just vaguely you were doing, like you did something this week, but what are some other things you've done other than treasure? And we'll get into treasure mostly, though.
Oh, I'm always busy. Back in the late 90s, there wasn't social media. The internet there was hardly anybody on the internet still, and the internet that was there was just static pages. So finding a way into the industry was extremely difficult. And even in the first years of social media, it was still not. It wasn't until broadband and YouTube and filmmaking and people into it were able to really gather. So, and that's when I was doing my undergrad. I was in college. So when I was putting myself through school, it was tough because I was going to school full time. So I made my first film I started it in 2000, I want to say 7. And what had happened is I went to school and I had this professor, and he would just grab a camera and shoot a documentary with a camera and a microphone, just himself, for like $5,000. And I was like, that's a thing? You can do that?
Yeah.
That is awesome. I'm going to do that. So I begged my uncle to buy me this camera, because my uncle came to me and he said, Chris, he said, you do videos, right? And he's like, when people click on like porn videos on the internet, somebody gets paid. Well, how come somebody can't click on our videos and we get paid?
You get paid, exactly.
And I told him, I said, well, Uncle, first of all, people are like 1,000 times more likely to click on the naked lady than whatever we're doing. So
exactly,
especially back then, it was real tough. So, but I told him, I said, but I have this professor that makes documentaries, and so if you want me to make a documentary about your employees that are building this race car, I could do that, because he had these employees that are building a 1992 Honda Civic that they were trying to get to go a quarter mile in under 10 seconds. And I was like, that's kind of interesting. So I followed those guys for 2 years with my camera. I learned how to use the camera. That was where I cut my teeth learning how to tell a story and get the shots to help tell the story. And I absolutely just loved it. I enjoyed the process. And that film is called Racing Heart, and you can watch it for free if you. It's on YouTube. Yeah, and you can access it from my website at chriswillfilm.com.
Chris Will Film. I'm gonna put that in the chat. I'll put it in the show notes. But I saw that on IMDb. Chris Will Film at Gmail.
Yes. No, chriswillfilm.com.
Oh, .com. Okay, gotcha. Film.com. So in the chat room, Joshua Johnson, geocaching vlogger, who Chris, check out the new setup, and then Josh, and then there's the geocaching vlogger's little doodad back here. But anyway, Chris says that he remembers editing on Super VHS in high school as well. So he's with you on that one. All right. So let's get into this movie that's going to be coming out next year. Oh, no, actually, let me back up. Let's talk briefly about your exposure and how you got into geocaching. And I've got a little blurb here I'm going to work off of. So you tell me, you fill in the blanks of this story. So you were returning to Seattle from a vacation with your wife, and you were in Seattle. You were going back to Seattle. You're searching your smartphone for a map to help navigate the hilly one-way streets of downtown when a geocaching app popped up, and you started on your trail of geocaching, and you told her you're going to go off on a treasure hunt.
Yes. Let me back up just a minute, because I still remember the absolute first second I heard of geocaching to begin with. And that was, there's two things that preceded this that set up this story. And that is, I was on my way back to Seattle from a visit to Kansas City when I lived there. And I sat next to this dude that had this device, and we were watching our airplane fly over the Rocky Mountains. And I'm like, what's that? And he goes, that's us going over the Rocky Mountains. And
that's really cool.
And I'm like,
Awesome.
That's the coolest thing ever. I was just like, that's a thing. Awesome.
Mind blown.
That it's called a GPS. And I was like, wow. I just couldn't believe it was like magic,
Right.
So that just kind of happened, and I hadn't heard about GPS for a while. And then when I moved back to Kansas City, I was working at Radio Shack.
Mm-hmm.
And this guy came in, and he was looking at the GPS devices. And I was like, Mr. Salesman over there answering questions about it. And he says, I'm using this for geocaching. Would this be good? And I'm like, what's geocaching? And he's like, well, people hide things, and then you can use one of those GPSs to find it. And I was like, you can do what?
What?
Say that again?
Yeah.
So this had to have been 2003, right?
Yeah.
And I was like, hold on a second. So I wrote it down. That was the exact moment I heard of geocaching. I wrote it down so I wouldn't forget it. And I went home that night, and I started Googling and reading about it, and my jaw was open. I'm like, this is the coolest thing ever. I couldn't afford a GPS though to get into it or anything, but it stuck with me. So when I was in Seattle with my wife, and I saw that geocaching app on my iPhone I already had. I downloaded that app faster than I had ever downloaded anything in my entire life. I grabbed my wife by the hand, and I said, baby, we're going treasure hunting right now. We're stopping what we're doing at this very moment. We're doing this.
That's right.
And she loved it. It was fun. We went to
awesome.
Pike Place Market, which, if you don't know, is like the coolest part of Seattle. It is downtown. It overlooks the bay, and it's the Puget Sound, and it's all these people that sell fish and all kinds of trinkets and T-shirts and stuff. All the tourists go there, and it's super cool.
Yeah. It's a scene there.
We found a micro cache. It was in the tree. I remember I was searching around the trunk of the tree.
Right.
And it was like hanging up in the tree, and I was just like, so cool. I took it out, signed it.
Yes. Well, I got in the show notes. I dug up the GC. The name of the mic. It's not there anymore, by the way. It's archived. Yeah. Sad. I know. For your first cache, Pike Place Micro, and it's GC1 PFEJ. And I looked through it, and some people had found it, and there you were. You were on there, and it got archived about 2014. So anyway. So then you did some more. You went over to Bainbridge Island.
Oh, yes. And the geocaches took us to some beautiful places over there. And I'm like, this is cool.
This is awesome. So then you moved to, when you finished undergrad, you moved to Central Florida. You went to the University of Central Florida to get a master's in fine arts.
In film.
In film. Okay. Very cool. And so then you were able to kind of combine the two, your excitement for geocaching and your excitement for film, and you've put them all together and you made a movie.
Yes. Well, I had wanted to know more about geocaching because all of this time I hadn't been able to go out and do it as much as I wanted. Sure. My wife, God bless her soul, she had really bad allergies in Kansas.
Oh, wow.
I think it's all the cottonwoods. They call it the cottonwood state, and she was like deathly allergic. So it was really hard to get out and stuff. Plus it snowed half the year. It was pretty bad, but down here in Florida, I was able to go out like a little bit more. And I don't know, there was just something about it that always stuck in me because I'm an adventurer at heart. I was always the kid that was out exploring, I love exploring. So when we had to come up with an idea for a film, and we had to come up with an idea of a film that we could make because we had to make a feature film on a micro budget.
Right.
So if you think about a micro cache being really small, that was my budget was really small for this film. And I'm like,
right.
How could I make something of any quality, on such a small budget? So it had to be character oriented, and part of my degree was also to find a film that would have some kind of appeal to like a niche audience or something. Okay. So I'd always loved geocaching, and I learned more about it, and I knew that there was a big community, and I was like, are there any like cool movies that have geocaching in it? And so I looked, and the answer was like no. I found one like Splinterheads, and I watched it, and I loved it. I thought it was hilarious and stuff, but I knew that it had good production values, but it was also like inappropriate for all ages.
Right.
And so when I was online, and a lot of geocachers like geocaching with their kids and stuff, they weren't able to watch the movie with their kids.
Right.
And I thought, well, that's a shame. These people deserve to watch a movie with their kids. You know, I've got a friend, Davis, that I turned on to geocaching, and he does it with his kids, you know. And so I started thinking, like, what if I made a movie for Davis and his kids, you know?
Awesome.
And then my best friend in the whole world, like, what if I made a movie for him? So a lot of people make really pretentious, cool films, you know, where everybody smokes, like talks philosophy the whole time, you know. Like I didn't really want to do that. I was like, you know what? I'm gonna make it more like a family-friendly film or something.
Yeah. Well,
I thought that was an aesthetic that I could reach on a small budget. I could tell a very personal story, and I could also express you know, some ideas and attitudes that I have, along with creating characters that have their own, that all mix together. And so I started kind of discovering the story, and it started out way more dramatic. Like, it didn't have geocaching in it like at first, because at first I started with kind of one story where you know, this girl's an alcoholic, and both of her parents were together, and there were things that weren't working. So I took the things that I did like that were working, and then kind of added some other elements that kind of draw from my own life and put them together.
So here's the synopsis, and we'll work off it. Here's what I have, and we can kind of talk a little bit about we could talk a little bit about. Well, here's the synopsis. So, and I want to ask you about some of these characters, but Erica finds herself in trouble and has to do community service at a soup kitchen to stay out of jail. She meets Ryan, and they grow close while geocaching. And you explain what geocaching is, blah, blah. Erica, Ryan, and her widowed father, Ethan, learn lessons about life by trying to do things they never thought possible. Together, they discover the meaning of life isn't so hard to find if you're looking for it.
That's right.
That's right. So, what were let's talk about these people a little bit, as much as you can. I know we can't really talk like fully, but tell us a little bit about the person. So Erica is one of the main characters in this movie.
It's mostly her story, yes.
Mostly her story, told different ways. But and you got Ansley Gordon to play it. She's been in different things. She's kind of an up-and-coming actor. She was in Crazy Ex-Girlfriend on CW, and I think you told me right after shooting was done, she moved to LA, I think, right? To continue her career?
Yeah, 2 weeks after shooting, she moved to LA, and you know, so she's been getting around and building.
Yeah, that's awesome.
Being on TV shows and small films and stuff. So she was in Sleepwalkers, is another film that she was in around here before Treasure.
Right.
And so she had been acting for basically her entire life.
Oh, wow.
So when she came into audition, the young woman just shined and stood out above everybody. Just the way that she carried herself, her ability to take the character, and I don't know, it just seemed like she understood it from the get-go. Like maybe she had something in common with her or something. You know, I that's what it felt like. So it immediately, everybody that saw her was like, Ansley,
she's the one.
She's the one. Yeah, we just knew it. I mean, it was plain as day. Sometimes it's just a gut feeling that you get. And it was the absolute right choice. There's no one else that auditioned that could
play that role. That's
possibly
awesome.
play that role. Yeah.
Well, and one of my other major announcements tonight is that Chris and I talked about it, and I'm gonna have Chris back on in the spring as we get closer to release of the movie, and we're gonna have Ansley on we're gonna have her on the podcast one night, so we can ask her stuff about how it was filming that movie and everything. So very exciting. We're gonna have Ansley on.
Oh yeah, we're gonna try to get you Ansley. John Hardy, who played her father Ethan, Rebecca, who played Angela, who runs the soup kitchen.
That's right.
And hopefully Shanice Jordan. She's a peach. She's in New York now, pursuing her acting career. She is so good.
Wow,
so good. She's up in New York now, so hopefully we'll get everybody that played the characters.
Yeah, that'd be wonderful. So
we'll be doing the publicity.
Yeah,
you'll see them around.
Yes, this is gonna be awesome. And so, so then you got Matt Mercurio, who plays Ryan.
Yes.
Matt has been in Ballers. He's been in the TV show Sleepy Hollow, and he's going to also be in another film next year called American Made with Tom Cruise. And he's done a lot of good character or support acting for now. So how did you run across? How did it go getting Matt into the film, and how was that experience?
Well, when I brought Ansley on, I told her that we were still looking for a Ryan.
Right.
And Ryan is the boy that she meets at the soup kitchen, who is basically like polar opposites to her.
Right.
So she's out drinking and partying and getting in trouble. Basically, to Erica, there's no rule she hasn't broken or wouldn't break. You know, she loves doing that. And Ryan is more of a simple kind of man. He likes to help people. He enjoys helping people. He's really smart. He geocaches, and he's the one that gets her into geocaching. And it was by accident. It's not like he even invited her, but she kind of invited herself along, you know. So it was just kind of funny how their characters start and then kind of come together while the film plays out. But Matt kind of played against what you might think that character is, because Matt Mercurio plays cops and bad guys, and like usually because he's a stocky guy, you know, big guns and stuff. So he's got a mean scowl he can make, you know, but he can also look really friendly. And Ansley already knew Matt because they had been working together. They would film each other's auditions because you do video submissions and stuff. So they had already known each other for a while. So that kind of they brought that on the set, and it really worked out. And I've really enjoyed how Matt kind of plays against what most people think Ryan would be by reading the script a little bit, you know?
Right. And then, so then we have Ansley's dad, which she still lives at home. But that's sort of from what I understand, it's a little troubled relationship, I guess, at the beginning of the movie with but Ethan, played by John Hardy. So tell me a little bit about John Hardy and what your experience was with him.
Well, Ethan and his daughter are in a rut after the passing of her mother. It's just been a downhill slide, and now the stakes are high because she's about to ruin it all. Like everything's about to fall apart and unravel at this point. Like, so they're at the bottom. They bottom out during this film,
right, in
their relationship, and you know he's just a workaholic now, and anything to keep his mind off of. They haven't coped yet, you know, with what's happening and stuff. So there's real human emotion going on. There's real you know, human experience. So John came in, he did auditions, and I was like, he came in, and it was just one of those obvious choices, kind of like Ant-Man.
Right.
Because he comes in, and he actually brought a newspaper. It was for this scene. You'll see it when the movie comes out. So there's this scene where, after she gets in trouble, she wakes up in a hospital bed, and he's there, and he's reading the newspaper, just kind of ignoring her, and he puts it down, and John did that scene so well. Like I was like, this is the man. And we originally had another actress lined up for Erica.
Oh, okay.
And that actress, we also had to make the parents and the daughter kind of look alike and everything, to sell the relationship. So our first actress looked like she could be John's daughter, and then he knew Liz at the time. So Liz came into Liz Day plays a character I don't want to give away.
That's okay. Yeah.
But anyway, so she came in. She was a friend.
Yeah.
She was a friend of John's. She came in and she auditioned for Angela, but I was like, I'll give it away. She plays the mom. So I was like, will you read this part of the script? And so she read it, and I was like, I now have my mother. And then I find out just like a month later, her and John are dating.
Oh, how funny.
They started dating like as we were auditioning and putting this movie together. And I was like, I don't know. That's so weird and awesome at the same time that the two characters that love each other most in this movie, have that real life relationship. So it's really weird how that can, I don't know, how that can play on screen and stuff. It's kind of interesting.
So how was it? I think this is the question that I always wanted to ask somebody who does a feature film. And we talked a little bit about this previously, but how was the experience of directing, but not over directing, but not under directing, and trying to find the right balance between the actor doing their craft, but yet you sort of drawing out the most you can? You know what I'm saying? Is it kind of how was it for you to direct everyone in getting the film put together the way you wanted it to, I guess?
Well, when you're directing a film, you're directing a team of people, of creative people, and they're all going to create for you. So directors are, in one hand, we are creators, but we're actually leaders of creators as well. So when we make a film and you see directed by, it's not like every part of the film, like they thought of every creature or of every location, or a lot of times our job is to play tastemakers. So we'll direct our team as we do our research. So I did a ton of visual research, and then I let my team know this is what I see when I think of wardrobe. These are the images that come to mind, or the locations look like this. Or when they're geocaching, these things happen, and it looks like this, and they're wearing this, and so on and so forth. And so when you're on set and you're working with your actors, first of all, you cast the right actors. If you cast the right actors, that's a big part of it, because if you cast the wrong actor and you show up on set and they're nowhere close to the mark where you're trying to go, then you've got a big problem on your hands. But when you make the choice of actor, you've already chosen a direction, a general direction. So let's say that you're in Kansas, right? And that's where you start making your film. Now, let's say that New York is a horror film and LA is family film. Well, you got to point everybody in the Los Angeles direction. Right. And then you got to make sure that they don't go to Seattle or San Diego. You got to make sure that they go
where they want to go.
That direction. So that you get as close to your vision as possible. And a lot of that is just being a good communicator, doing your research, and letting everybody know what you want, and also giving them the freedom to create in that direction as well. So when I'm working with actors, and this definitely occurred on Treasure, was Ansley is so good. My actors are so good. They all did their homework, so they knew that when this scene was occurring, like they already knew where they needed to be, roughly.
Right.
So they came in, and I would usually we would do a tech rehearsal, and I would see where they were at already, right? And then I would make sure from my own notes and what I had already imagined for that scene, if they needed any adjustments, I might tell them. They might be doing one thing, and I might just say, how about instead of making him feel bad, like hurt him,
Right.
emotionally, or make him feel small.
Right.
So you want to give your actors verbs. You want them to be doing something so that they have the freedom to express that on their own accord. And then chances are they'll get where you want them to be.
Right.
It's amazing how it's kind of like dreaming in pairs. You're dreaming together when you create this stuff.
That's cool.
So it's you direct, but they do it,
So when there's certain scenes, and again, we've talked before about the geocaching is really very, very integral. It's not just a throwaway part of the movie. I mean, it's really, really integral to the movie. When the characters are sort of evolving from like from Ryan and Erica from initial meetup to the final, as they progress through the movie. How was it in getting them to interact about geocaching? Because Ryan's the one that geocaches, is geocached a lot, and then so Erica comes along and learns the whole thing. So how was that going, or how did that come about with inside in the movie with Erica learning about geocaching basically from Ryan?
Well, I don't want to get into
into detail, but just in general.
But I can tell you that like going into Treasure, I look at like a lot of things symbolically. Like it's very easy for me to look at things and see symbolism in them for some reason. And that's always something I've been interested in, because I've read psychology books, and I was reading Jungian psychology books when I was like 16 years old, so a lot of that informs my work. So really, sometimes in my films, a lot of times you'll see things that are symbolic. And geocaching in this film, the reason it's like so tightly woven in with the character's journey is because it's a mirror for their journey in a way. I read stories I know on forums about people that will tell you like geocaching changed their life or even saved their lives. Like there are people out there that will attribute the fact that their life is good now to geocaching, and what that means, what they're really saying is when you put a geocache out there for someone else to find, that you just made someone else's life better.
Right.
Because geocaching, I mean, how do all these containers get out there, right?
Right.
We put it out there, and other people and come by and enjoy it, and we have like a connection with everybody that we find a geocache. To everybody that put one there, there's a connection created, and so I let all of that wash over me, and really kind of got deeper into, philosophically speaking, like geocaching is an amazing web that was born of the web of the internet and the web of human beings and the web of geography. It compresses time and space and helps make us all one. There was there was just something ineffable that treasure expresses that I needed to get out.
Right. That is
And,
awesome.
and I think that is what you are, that's what you're talking about here.
Mm-hmm.
These two, their relationship grows, and it's that connection.
Yeah, you know that's something that it's something that it's sometimes hard to explain to somebody, but there's something that is, like you said, is integral, you know, about the adventure. You know, something that I'm kind of working on is writing about, you know, growing up and kind of just being someone who is sort of fascinated by, you know, Indiana Jones, you know, movies, or just different movies that you know, National Treasure, where you know, they got to find certain
Oh yeah,
clues to find stuff.
Goonies.
You know, Goonies, yeah. There's and there's something that I guess is in certain, you know, the spirit of some of us that understand that there's that adventure is, you know, vital in our lives, and so geocaching sort of is a way for us to be part of that adventure. So I'm so glad.
Absolutely.
Yeah, so I'm so glad that you've you know, are able to sort of capture what you and I have talked about. So awesome.
I think it's a vital part of being a human being. You know, we're all adventurers. You're born an adventurer,
Mm-hmm.
and right now every spot on Earth has been discovered. So right now it's all about personal discovery. It's
Mm-hmm.
and geocaching just it appeals to people that want to get out and find and explore new places.
Right. Awesome. Well, it's interesting. Some of the aspects of that you're going through right now, technically. Now, recently you were able to you sort of were able to get your composer lined up.
Yes.
Yes, Andrew Scott Faust, and I did some. Y'all, everybody on this listening, watching, go check out Andrew Scott Faust's work. The dude, unbelievable. So there's a movie coming out. He is movie coming out called Testament, and he's got a link right now on his Facebook page, and I got it in the show notes. But um, it's some great sound coming from his. I mean, he's got some great composing and just neat. So glad you got him into the.
And I am blessed because I will tell you, you know, when we originally edit a film, a lot of times you use temporary songs and music and stuff. And I had seen this film and so many times with the temporary music
Right.
that I was afraid that if somebody composed it, that you know, would I like the new music, or would I have a hard time letting go of our temp music because that's what I had seen it with so many times.
Mm-hmm.
And when I heard Andrew Scott Faust's first like stuff that he did, I was watching those scenes and I can't even remember the temp music. Can't even remember it.
Wow. And you watched that? You watched your own film like 1,000 times at least.
Yeah.
So.
And I can't even tell you, like the temp music just faded away because his music is just so perfectly composed for each emotion and every moment, and just I just couldn't believe it. And well, when I approached him, he had been doing some like darker material for a while, and so when I approached him with Treasure and he watched it, the footage, he was really excited because it was going to allow him to explore themes and music that he hadn't been able to do before. So he really just he took to it and just ran with it, man.
Oh, that's awesome.
God, he did such a good job. I cannot wait for everybody to see it. So excited.
Well, and you're doing something interesting this week, or last few weeks, as we were talking, and you're. I didn't know people did this. It's very insightful, but you're recoloring the movie. Is that a good way to put it, I guess?
Yeah, well, I did a initial kind of preliminary, well, a temporary color,
Okay.
because I just wanted to get it in a place where, it's roughly watchable until I really shine it up. So,
Mhm.
I thought I might hire a professional colorist, but I thought about it, and I've been coloring images for a
Mhm.
long time in Photoshop, and I've been editing in Final Cut Pro and Adobe Premiere Pro and coloring in that, and also After Effects. So, I'm no stranger to coloring. So it was really about learning DaVinci Resolve, which is a color correction application. The whole thing is dedicated. That's what all the big boys use.
That thing is unbelievable. Chris showed me a little bit of what you can do
Yeah.
in DaVinci
It's
Resolve.
extremely powerful. So
Wow.
I just had to really just pick up, and after using so many multimedia tools,
Hmm.
you just have to learn how this application does it. How does this application do what I want? As long as I know what I want to do, it's
Sure.
just a matter of finding that out. Like today, I was trying to key something, which means pulling a piece of the shot out, like basically so that you can adjust just that one thing. I was having trouble doing it, so I just went on some tutorials, and I knew what I wanted. So a few tutorials, I was able to figure it out and move along. So, and it's looking
Awesome.
great. Leona,
Oh, there's a cat. No,
what
that's
are
not
you
that's
doing?
not that's not Jazzy.
That's not Jazzy, the Geocat, but
The Geocache.
I don't
I'm
know
sorry.
what this feline is doing over here.
That's okay. That's all right. Somebody noticed it in the chat room. Do you take care of Kitty, or
I
she's
like. Well, she's a very she's
she's
always
okay?
getting into things. I like to see what she does.
Okay.
And watch. So.
Well, we'll keep an eye on her. I'll let you know if she jumps up and grabs your
She'll be all
the.
right.
Okay, good. All right, great. So, all right. No, I'm not distracted. So, no, I'm fine. You're fine, Chris. No, don't worry about it.
Come,
That's awesome. Oh,
adorable. Okay,
Kitty. Okay.
come say hi.
Uh,
All right.
Say hi to everybody. Well, I'm gonna ask you actually a big question right now. So there you go. Hey,
Look,
Kitty.
she hates me right now. It's
Yeah.
hilarious. There you go.
So I've had a dog on my show, and now I've had a cat. So
Now you
everything's good. Deborah, I just need one of your horses. I need your horse to be on the show one day. So
yeah.
we have one of Deborah Burris is in the
Yeah, I
chat
don't know
room.
if any of your
Horses.
listeners are into model rockets, flying model rockets.
I see the model rocket back there.
Yeah, that's the one that was in Treasure.
That's in the movie too. Wow, movie prop. Awesome.
Yeah,
I'm
that's the
looking
one we
forward to that.
flew. We flew in the movies. So
Sweet. And you recovered
yeah.
it. Is the flying V guitar in the movie at all, or?
Flying guitar is not in the movie, but I did play wedding march for my wife when we during our wedding.
Did you really?
As her father walked her up to the.
Now that's a video we need to have on the internet somewhere.
It's somewhere. I don't know
It's
where.
somewhere. Oh, okay. All right. Well, all right. We're gonna starting to ramp toward the end here. Let me ask you though. For first question, then we're going to talk about what's next for the movie. So, and this is going to probably be tough to answer in a short period of time, but take as much time as you need. So, why do you think this movie is worth either watching and or purchasing at some point?
I think. I think anybody can watch it because the story it's universal and it speaks to the human experience that I think a lot of people can identify with. But I think geocachers in particular are going to get way more out of it than your average person because they're gonna. It'll blow their minds how geocaching is woven into the themes.
Mm-hmm.
The theme of finding yourself
Right.
is huge, and the way that that geocaching is woven in there with the characters, I think. And it's family friendly. It's something that you can sit down and watch with your kids without any awkward, moments or anything like that. So and who knows, you might be able to do a little geocaching while watching the film.
Ooh, so there's interesting. So there's
Yes.
something in the movie, or
All right. So I always think about the audience. I'm like, how can I make it as like fun as possible to watch my movie? Because the whole goal of making a film is, for people to enjoy themselves while watching it, have fun. So there might be a few, maybe several trackable codes embedded in the film somewhere.
Ooh, Easter eggs. Love it.
And I'm kind of curious whether, if people will find them all or what'll happen there. So
sweet.
Sounds a lot of fun. There's a couple obvious ones, maybe a couple not so obvious ones, but
awesome.
In any case, I try to put them in fun places.
Oh, good.
And they're there, which like somebody who's never done geocaching,
right,
will watch this movie and will never ever
blow right by them.
ever even understand what they just saw. Like
right.
it'll just woo, over their head, man, over there. So it's an inside joke, just between me and the geocachers.
Wow. So like those, all the puzzle cachers that love to puzzle cache, they're going to be all over that. They're going, oh, I found one. Yeah.
So I do know, like somebody's going to freeze frame the Sudoku, and I'm not sure. I cannot remember if we actually put the correct answers in the Sudoku, or if
just for the film,
or if they were just random,
right?
Movie prop, because it was just a movie prop, right?
Sure.
So like I can't wait to go into a forum and someone was like, "Hey, they even got Sudoku right," or that thing is totally wrong.
What's wrong? What were they thinking?
I don't know. I think it's kind of fun when people talk about your movies. So, like, I'm looking forward to people, whether, tell me, do you love it? Do you hate it? Which parts, what rung true? What didn't? What kind of, it's a conversation. When you make films like this for an audience, it's really like a conversation starter. I'm just lucky and happy just to be a part of it. I'm just really excited.
So, so what is next for the movie, and how is it that we can help? Because I think you mentioned, we talked about before the show that as the movie gets picked up by different film festivals, or and let's say it's coming to Minneapolis, Joshua. What can Joshua do, knowing that, hey, it's going to be in Minneapolis on this particular date? What do you want? What would be helpful for Joshua Johnson to do if it's coming to his town?
All right, so we are using film festivals as our theatrical run. So, because only multi-million-dollar movies get into multiplexes, right? So, whenever we get accepted into a film festival and it will screen, then we're gonna contact people in the area, because generally each geographical location has a geocaching group. So like on Facebook, there's a Facebook page for like each state and even parts of states and cities. So we're going to get on and just let people know that they can go see it. And also that'll allow them to, people can start reviewing it and develop buzz. Okay. So right now, buzz is what's important. Letting people know that this exists. It exists, and it's not only does it exist now in hiding, but it's also going to be in public soon. Sure. So right now, the best thing we can do is drive people to the website to sign up on the email list. Right. And then that way we can keep in touch with people that are interested whenever we have screenings, whenever we win awards or get accepted into a film festival, and when things are available, such as the film. When the film comes out on Blu-ray, or also events that we attend. Right. After the film is released, we'll probably be attending several geocaching events and hopefully screen it at geocaching events. I I can't, like, I dream at night of the day when I'm surrounded by fellow geocachers and we're watching the movie at a geocaching event, you know.
Yes.
So like that needs to happen because I've been dreaming about it for too long now.
Well, and in the chat room, I've got some people saying they would host a screening, and
we might take this thing on tour, man. We're gonna as we when the film is finished.
Right.
And once we've had our premiere at a film festival,
right,
then kind of all bets are off. We're able to go have public screenings for geocachers, or what we might do is allow geocachers to organize screenings.
Right.
Might be a possibility. We just have to be really careful, because we just got to keep control of the film due to piracy and stuff like that.
Sure, absolutely.
I mean, that could ruin us, and such a small guy like us is like, I mean, that could just totally ruin all of our plans for the future.
Yeah.
So you can bet, like, I have to be really careful about all of that. Unfortunately,
absolutely,
that's the world that we live in. But
yeah, you do. I was glad I got to see some of the stills, and I put some of the stills up on my in Twitter this week. But there's some questions about it. Joshua was asking about, will there be a premiere event? And again, we hope. Well, we know there will be. We just don't know where. Probably where the premiere will be.
Yes, yeah, we're holding off on our premiere status until we get into a film festival, and hopefully I would like to see it in a larger city. Or a geographic region with a lot of geocachers that can go out to see the film.
Right. Awesome. And
like Seattle.
Yeah. Well, there you go. Seattle.
But Seattle also takes place in, I believe May. So that's also pretty late in the season. So if we get into another film festival before then, we may hold our screening before then, but we're definitely sending it there, and hopefully it'll screen in Seattle.
That'd be awesome. That'd be wonderful.
That way the geocaching.com execs can go out and see it.
Sure.
I can fly out there and see it with my old friend.
There you go.
And his kids, you know.
It's perfect. That's who you kind of made it for.
If the universe could just arrange that for me, we would. That would just be great.
Well, and we talked about some kind of connection with Geo Woodstock 15. There's a lot of possibilities out there.
Right now it's just about finishing it. Right now we're on the very, very tail end. The composer has finished the music, so he's sending me the music, and then I'm just a couple hundred shots away from coloring this thing, and it's looking fabulous. So, but we're almost done coloring it. And then I've got to go through and fix the dialogue edit to make it sound as good as possible, marry it with the music and the picture, and then I got to send the audio off to an audio engineer to master the film so that it just sounds like music to your ears. And then we marry that to picture. And then we create a master, like a huge, high quality master that then all copies will be made.
All copies made from. Awesome.
So it is within a month of being absolutely 100% completed.
Awesome.
Which is nice because I'll be able to put my attention on getting the word out about the film.
Yeah. Now, the website is treasurethemovie.com. And on that website, on the webpage, go there. I need everybody to go there. And Chris is not going to spam you. He's just going to give you updates on the movie and different events for the movie. And so sign up for their email, and then he can from that be able to kind of keep everybody up to date. Yeah,
I'm barely good enough at keeping you updated as it is. So trust me, you will not get spammed. People usually want more from me than they're getting. So, but once the film is done, it'll just be a lot easier to keep in touch. So, because we kind of got behind because I graduated and then I've been looking for employment.
Sure.
point, so I wasn't able to finish the film
Right.
until I got a job teaching film 4 months ago. So
Yeah, that's awesome.
Game on, man. It's on.
So, LA Film School, but you're doing it from Florida because it's not.
I teach the online
Yeah.
in the online program. So being online, they could put the program anywhere. And I guess from what I hear, office space in West Hollywood is expensive or something.
Oh, is it really? I didn't know that.
So they base the online program out of Orlando.
Yeah, awesome.
Great for me. And it's a great job. I love my students, and I've been using Treasure to in online trainings for my classes, and the students love it. They love it. So.
Oh, cool. Now show the coin. Show the coin.
Oh,
we're giving a coin away tonight, so everybody needs to get ready.
Here. All right, this coin.
Now this is interesting. This is the last coin of this version, I guess, of this coin.
Pull it out. All right, so this is the original Treasures Funders coin that we came out with.
Right.
You can see Jazzy the Geocat on the front. She has a Facebook page, by the way, so look for Jazzy the Geocat on Facebook.
Yep.
She's got her little ammo container. And then on the back, you can see my name is on the back with a film slate, as well as the producer's name is on there.
Yes, we didn't really get to even talk about the producer. That's
if I'm the father of the film, she is definitely the mom.
Yes.
Kelsey Haller, without her, this film couldn't have gotten made. She's the one that got the crew together and organized everything and made sure everybody was fed and taken care of. She found locations. And so she's in law school right now.
Oh, wow.
Because she's a badass. And,
right, I was gonna say that's quite a thing to do, to be a producer and be a lawyer,
Yes. So we minted, I think, 100 total funders coins.
That is 100.
And right now there are only, I don't know, a little over 20 left. So these will never be minted again, and only the people that helped make the movie will own these. So,
you can buy one for $25 if you don't win one tonight, and just email Chris in the you want to send an email somewhere particular for the coin?
Yeah. Okay.
Or do you want to wait on that?
I haven't tested it yet, but I think if you send a payment to Sunfire Films, sunfirefilmsinfo@gmail.com. That is what's attached to my PayPal account.
Okay.
And so I'll send it to whatever address is attached to that, unless you send me an email and tell me, hey, don't do it, send it to that address, send me to another one.
Cool. And if you have any
filmsinfo@gmail.com.
Okay, great. Yes. And if anybody has any questions, you can obviously get a hold of me and we can work that out. But we're going to give one away. So everybody get your get the chat ready to go, get your fingers ready, because I'm going to take the first person who gets this right. Okay. So the answer or the question is, hang on. I'd messed this up, Chris. I got distracted by someone. Hang on. I got to pull the chat back up so I know who wins this thing. So one moment. Getting back in here. There it is. All right.
Coming at you.
Coming at you, baby. All right.
See how close I can get with this thing. Look at you.
Yeah, I'm getting there. All right. I got the chat back pulled up. All right. Never mind all that. Okay, here we go. We are now ready. So here's the question. Question is, what is the actor's name that played Ethan in the movie? We talked about him early. Who was the actor? What's the name of the actor that played Ethan in Treasure? Roll the Jeopardy theme. No, the actor's name that played Ethan. Yes, we have a winner. Stardust, Jamie won. Jamie got it right. It was John Hardy who plays Ethan. So that is awesome. So, Jamie, I will get with you. Because I think I already have your email address, but send me an email.
Congrats.
Yes, with your information. Yeah, just woot. So send me an email to geocachetalk@gmail.com. Give me your address, and I'll make sure and get that coin to you. That's the last one of that version, right, Chris? That coloring.
Yes. Yeah, that's the only satin silver one left.
Yeah. And there's only another handful. So, but now is the thing still
10? There was only 10 total. So this
10
is
of that version, right?
Yeah.
Now does it still hold in place that if somebody buys whatever coin is left, that they are able to get a early screening of the movie at some point?
Yes, we're figuring out that now, how to offer the because everybody that bought a GeoCoin before is going to be able to get an advanced view of the film early next spring.
Sweet. So if you buy one, the proceeds go to the movie and getting the movie out and the publicity that it was required and all that good stuff. So it's not it's think of it as a fundraiser for them, and you get a coin, and that is wonderful. So awesome. And
thank you.
So you bet. So anyway, let me get back to my notes, and we're going to wrap up tonight. So let me see, Chris. So mega event news, I have it in the show notes. Product review of the week. Mega event news is sponsored by IB Geocaching Supplies. Best site for geocoins, cache containers, much more can be found at ibcaching.com. The product review of the week is usually sponsored by Cachly. Cachly is the foremost geocaching app. Can be found at cachly.com. And let me tell everyone about what's coming soon. So next week on the show, I'm going to have the land sharks are going to be on. They're going to talk about land sharks in the water, cruising and caching. So I'm going to have them on. We're going to talk about going on a geocaching cruise, which I think Chris will want to go on after this is all done with at some point. Get a break, right, Chris?
Yeah, well, I learned early on that when I was going to put myself out there in filmmaking, that with attention comes negative attention on the internet. So the more haters you have, the more successful you are. So bring it on. It's cool with me. I don't know.
And then the week after that, the week after that, I'm going to have on Limax. We're going to do a Halloween themed on October 30th. We're going to do a Halloween themed show. And then on November 6th, I go from, we transfer Chris from the world of film over to the world of books. I'm going to have on Russ Atkinson. He's the author of several geocaching books in the Cliff Knowles series. And Russ and I are going to talk about what he's done with the Cliff Knowles series and his geocaching and his being a former FBI director and what, I'm sure he can't tell me a lot about that, but I'll try to eke out what I can from him that's legal for him to talk about. Probably won't get much out of the FBI part. Probably get a lot about the books though. So that's kind of more of what we're shooting for. So, well, Chris, thank you for being on. This will be your first, but we're going to have you on in the spring. We're going to have a whole new series of topics, and we'll hopefully have some of the actors on the show, and we'll have a good interaction on that night. But thank you again for being on tonight.
My pleasure. Thank you so much.
You bet. Well, we hope you enjoyed the show tonight. Please email me your comments at geocachetalk@gmail.com. Don't forget to follow on Twitter at Geocache Talk and Facebook at facebook.com/Geocache Talk. Show can be found on iTunes, Stitcher, Google Play, as well as the Geocache Talk website. Don't forget to click on that subscribe button. It's down there somewhere. And give me a comment if you would like about the new digs. This is Studio 2.0, Chris. I got the whole thing back here now. I think it looks kind of cool. And send me any comments you have. And again, I appreciate everyone who was in the chat room. And until next week, don't just talk about geocaching. Tell people about treasure. Get the word out. And then go geocaching. Good night, everyone.
Good night.
Bye, everybody.